In the headlines, bandits kill 32, burn 74 houses in southern Kaduna. Ex-DPO arrested as NDLEA intercept 22,000 kilograms of cocaine. Kogi police kill one after gunmen attack Okene area command. And on the foreign scene, at least 10 killed as cyclone Basirai sweeps through Madagascar. Hello and welcome to Trust News Update. I am Ayubelia. Thank you for joining. Now, 32 persons were killed while 74 houses were burnt in southern Kaduna. Senator representing Kaduna South, Danjuma La'a, wants people in southern Kaduna to defend themselves against the unabated killings by terrorists in the area. The report.
The lawmaker said this when the Southern Kaduna stakeholders paid an assessment visit to the 3 affected communities that recently came under attack by the terrorists, who killed 32 persons, burnt 74 houses and destroyed food items and other valuables worth millions of naira. The villages are Kurimin Masara in Zangon Kataf, Mararaban Kaguru and Sonjay in Kaura local government areas of Kaduna State.
We must live up to this petition and they will continue to protect and defend themselves at all costs. No two ways about it. I didn't ask them to go out and go and fight. One should not leave his area to go and fight outside. One should remain in his house to protect his house and protect his life. Because it is very, very important for one to know that life was not purchased in the market. It was given to us by God. 4 people are injured. So we put them to hospital.
Some of the victims, while narrating their ordeal, said the elderly, women and children were also killed in the attacks.
Burnt houses in this community are over 40 houses. So many were burnt in their bedrooms. Over 20 people were killed.
They divided themselves, some from the other end and then the other one at the other end. Some came through this way, shooting sporadically. People had to run helter-skelter. They came there for them, burning, looting, and so forth.
The victims also appealed to the government to beef up security in the areas to avoid further attacks.
Now, death toll from Zamfara attacks rises to 23 as bandits attack yet another community in the state on Friday night. Several people are displaced as community members say that they are still waiting for government intervention. The report.
Another bloody day in northwest Nigeria as bandits killed 23 in a fresh attack in Nasarawa Maifara of Safi local government area of Zamfara state. Thousands fled their homes and hundreds displaced as they failed to redeem the levy slammed on them by terrorist group.
We're still confirming people that are missing. They burned our houses and my house was also affected. With harvested food in the house. We don't know the number of houses affected so far. They taxed us money, we paid for peace, but they still attacked.
The fight against this terrorist group remains weak according to residents, as everyday attack of these communities continue and fears with the heart of many.
I was not able to carry anything from my house when they attacked. We had no option than to flee our homes for safety. Currently, these bandits are in our homes requesting we give them money, and we don't have the money to give to them now.
Many left homeless, thousands still missing, and hundreds still fleeing their homes for safety. From Zamfara State, Aaron Asahel, Trust TV News.
Staying with security matters, about 30 gunmen at the late hours of Sunday attacked the Okene area command of the Nigeria Police Force in Kogi State. The State Commissioner for Information, Kingsley Fowle, who confirmed the attack, said that the police shot dead one of the gunmen while others escaped with injuries during the attack. According to the statement, the local hunters and men of the State Vigilante Service, in collaboration with other security operatives, foiled the attack. FAO said that no lives were lost. Instead, the criminals were the ones that received gun wounds and lost one of their members on the spot. The commissioner called on the traditional medical homes and other medical facilities to report anyone with gun wounds to the nearest security formation. Now, Emir of Muri in Taraba State, Abbas Tafida, says he is developing a ranching formula that will end nomadic practice of cattle rearing that often leads to clashes between herders and farmers. The Emir speaks to Sunday Michael in an interview in Abuja.
With the direction of the central bank now, I believe, of course, it goes in line with the policies of the president, and I believe they will be consulting with the Ministry of Agriculture. And when they come together, we can easily address these issues one by one. You need at least one person to produce a minimum. One person running a simple system can produce about 200, 300, we say 1,000 liters a day. Nigeria needs approximately 1 billion liters a week. All these are coming from imports. Then you take second, the meat market. We have so carelessly run the beef market that the price of the beef has gone out of the reach of most of the people who are supposed to be consuming the beef. As a result, they are hungry and they are unproductive. So if we get the youth to go into the beef production, they will also be the consumers of the beef. Economy, my friend, is a cycle. Once the cycle breaks somewhere, then everything collapses. I remember what Ngige said yesterday, that if we joke with these policies, then we may lead to the ruin and collapse of the nation, and we turn out to be the biggest losers. So, from the statement of Ngige, it's very clear those in the government are aware of what is right, or at least partially aware of what is right. So, as far as I'm concerned, it is just a beginning. I am not a lone campaigner. I have never met somebody yet in Nigeria who said these ideas are wrong. Of course, it's very easy. I mean, some people are mentally lazy, they don't do their homework, and they say, well, maybe it's possible, maybe it's not. But definitely there's nothing wrong, because not everybody is a leader. So those of us who are in a position of leadership, we are supposed to sweat, we are supposed to have sleeplessness, we are supposed to do our homework, we are supposed to create solutions, we are supposed to make these solutions understandable and applicable to the ordinary person.
National Drugs Law Enforcement Agency NDLEA says over 22,160 kilograms of codeine syrup, methamphetamine and skunk have been seized at Apapa Seaport in 2 major operations in the state by its operatives. A statement signed by the agency's Director of Media and Advocacy, Femi Babafemi, said while a total of 14,080 kilograms codeine syrup and 4,352.43 kilograms cold caps were used to conceal in a container imported from India was intercepted on February 2nd. Now, cannabis, loud skunk imported from Ghana and methamphetamine weighing 3,727.72 kilograms were seized in an early morning raid at Akala, Mushin, where 17 suspects, including 5 females, were arrested on Thursday, 3rd February. The seizure at the Lagos Seaport followed intelligence from foreign partners and cooperation of other port stakeholders. NDLEA said that a 64-year-old former divisional police officer of Idare Police Station, Ondo State, Monday Chika, who was dismissed from the service for drug offenses, has again been arrested with an accomplice, Emmanuel Eniola, with 280 blocks of compressed cannabis weighing 168 kilograms in Mokwa, Niger State.
Did you see the house number?
Muslim right concern Murik has called on the Oyo State government to allow usage of hijab by female Muslim students in the state. Executive Director of MORIC, Ishaq Akintola, stated this during an annual lecture organized by a coalition of Muslim women to commemorate this year's World Hijab Day in Abuja. Akintola noted that a failure to do so will be violating the fundamental rights of female Muslim students in the state.
Unfortunately, it has gone U-turn. It was quoted yesterday as saying again that hijab will only be allowed in Muslim schools. That is absolute bunkum, because there's no Muslim school, there's no Christian school. The truth of the matter is, all the schools where the government is funding, they are government schools, and that is our stand. It is that statement made by Seyi Makinde is illegal, unlawful, unconstitutional, and illegitimate. We are going to challenge it.
There has been some controversies on this matter in our country, which has unfortunately gone down to the school level and generated needless violence clashes. I wish to take this opportunity to remind all our fellow citizens that there's a lot we can gain by dialoguing on matters of religions and religious differences rather than resorting to violence. I call on all parents and our school teachers to ensure that in both words and action, they present their best model to our children to emulate.
If you see the topic of this year's lecture, the hijab as a metaphor for our national aspiration, truly the hijab represents everything that we as Nigerians, as a nation, aspire for.
You're watching Trust News Update. Coming up after the break. Despite suffering from epilepsy, Angela wants to marry. Join us again for details.
The idea was to give the interim government confidence that there is somebody, a military man, who is well known, who can be accepted.
You alluded to the case of your son, Umar Farouk. Are you in touch with him?
Yes, he phones us 2 times, sometimes 3 times in a month.
As always, when I'm talking about late Abiola, I still thank my God for directing me on things to do when he gave me that leadership of this country.
Many of you honest Fulanis, you allow this man to cast aspersion on you.
You know, Zamfara is the mother of all bandits.
The biggest problem, if you permit me, is the fact that we have not been able to get the totality of our citizenry.
It's very, very difficult to have a fixed mind like that this one you will hand over to this person because you think he will do better.
I don't see myself under no circumstance ever leaving APC for another political party.
Here on the Mambila Plateau. And this is where the hydroelectric power dam is supposed to be constructed.
Most people in Nigeria are ignorant of the fact that employing a child as a maid is in fact against the law.
Access to the textile mill has been very difficult.
I believe, or I think that if you want to make money, it should be in a place where there are not plenty of people that can do what you do.
From the way things are happening now, I don't think the two parties will make any impact.
I've been talking about the updates concerning the campaign of Nigerian Super Eagles in Abuja.
Bola Tinubu has informed President Muhammadu Buhari of his ambition to contest for the position of president.
To be self-reliant, a blind man defies all odds to become a carpenter in Gombe State.
The country is now experiencing a 4th wave of the COVID-19 pandemic with the emergence of the Omicron variant.
Talks are ongoing between NRC management and the union.
Thanks for staying. You're watching Trust News Update. Let's have another look at the top stories again. 32 persons were killed, 74 houses were burnt in southern Kaduna. Plus, National Drugs Law Enforcement Agency NDLEA says over 22,160 kilograms of illicit drugs have been seized at Apapa Seaport in 2 major operations in the state by its operatives. And in other news, Nigeria Center for Disease Control has reported 36 COVID-19 infections across 4 states and the Federal Capital Territory. The agency, in its update for Sunday, 6th February, said that there were no fatalities on Sunday. However, reported a corrected computational error of confirmed and discharged cases that occurred last week. Nigeria now has a total of 253,727 confirmed cases, 230,045 recoveries, and 3,139 deaths. In a similar vein, the Nigeria Center for Disease Control registered 40 Lassa fever-related deaths in January, with 4 health workers infected with the deadly disease in latest outbreak of the disease in the country. This is coming as the federal government, through the National Primary Healthcare Development Agency, says it is working towards developing Lassa fever vaccines to combat the outbreak. Trust TV's Aisha Salihu reports.
In reaction to the latest situation report by the Nigeria Center for Disease Control on the Lassa fever disease outbreak, the Executive Director of the National Primary Healthcare Development Agency, Dr. Faisal Shoaib, says there has been massive improvement in diagnosis as the federal government works assiduously to develop vaccines against the Lassa fever outbreak.
Lassa fever, as you can see, is now a seasonal disease. It comes in outbreaks, and we're working with the with the Nigerian Center for Disease Control to see how we can have earlier diagnosis and treatment against Lassa fever. Unfortunately, what we find is that it's the health workers that are frequently affected because in the end, patients go to the health facilities to get treated. We've seen people, health workers particularly, die in Benue, in Nasarawa State, and our heart goes out to the families of those health workers. But clearly, we've seen a very massive improvement in terms of diagnosis for Lassa fever. Some years ago, it was difficult. You only had maybe a center that could adequately diagnose Lassa fever, but we've seen an improvement. What the federal government is doing largely now is to see how, just like we did with Ebola virus, how we can actually develop a vaccine against Lassa fever. Once we're able to develop a vaccine, we believe that we'll be taking very strong steps towards being able to contain these outbreaks of Lassa fever year in, year out.
Okay, so moving on to the poliomyelitis, a new variant of the disease has been reported. Do you entertain any fears that Nigeria may lose its status as a polio-free country?
So Nigeria is not at risk of losing the...
The National Lassa Fever Technical Working Group of the NCDC says the disease is preventable, while urging Nigerians to be cautious of the risk factors of the disease.
We have the Lassa fever high transmission season, in as much as cases are reported all through the year. But between November up until May is a season which is classified as a high transmission season. So this season is where over 80% of our cases when over 80% of our cases are reported. So this is a dry season. So some of the factors that drive this high number of cases during the dry season would include bush burning activities in preparation for the next farming season. So this tends to displace the rodents from their natural habitats to the homes. And also drying of foodstuffs at the roadside. So as you drive around the country now, you see lots of foodstuffs, grains being dried by the roadside. So in the process of this drying, the rodents can contaminate the foodstuffs, and then when it is consumed, the person can become infected. And the other thing is poor harvesting and storage, facilities. So if the crops are not well stored, the rodents can have access and contaminate them. The other key thing is hunting of rodents. So in the process of hunting and handling this rodent for processing for either foods, there are some cultural practices that include consumption of rodents. So these are all risk factors that could lead to exposing one to the Lassa fever virus and then becoming infected with the disease.
It is, however, advised that health workers maintain a high index of suspicion for any patient presenting with atypical symptoms of the disease. Aisha Salihu, Trust TV News, Abuja.
Now moving on. For the persons with epilepsy, a range of factors can combine to produce a heightened sense of anxiety, depression, lower self-esteem and feelings of isolation. While most people with the condition learn how to deal with these feelings, some may respond to such pressures by reacting in an overtly aggressive, antisocial, irritable or introverted manner. Angela is an epileptic patient who has found a way of dealing with isolation by putting words on paper. She also believes her condition will not stop her from getting a husband. Take a look.
I'm Angela Ogonna Chukwulobe from Anambra State, Anambra State, Nigeria. When I'm overstressed or unhappy, or no one to feed me or help me, I can be in someone can lose my conscience and the form of one being epileptic. I'm just a young lady that lost reading and writing. After many years, when I lost my parents, I was just alone. Don't know what pushed me. I started using my barrow to write, and what I'm writing, after writing, I'll just go through what I wrote down, and I'll be happy to read the story. And what is there makes me to be happy. That makes me all the time. I can go out and come in. Whenever I goes out and see something that can push me to write, I can just put a title and then come, when I'm in, I'll just brief it alone, and then suddenly it come out as a story. And that's that. Since then, I've been writing. Then whenever I write, I can go to some shops or markets and then market it one by one. After writing one, you can still use the money to write another one. That's why I'm able to write out all these books, which are 22 in numbers, and I still have over 25 different titles on printed ones. Through this book also, sometimes I'll go and buy drug. Drug can cost me 2,000 or 3,000. I've gone for operation in my place, and after the operation in my place, that cost me 8,000, which I went out with the help of people that helped me to pay for the operation bill. But still, I still express that kind of sickness, which I don't know what I will do. Sometimes I will be unconscious in terms of when I'm unhappy, when I didn't have anything to do, or when I overstress myself. That is when I'll be expecting certain of sickness. You decide them to play, which I don't know. I've gone to. Whenever I go to any doctor, they still tell me to keep on drinking that drug. That drug needs to pay me for me to buy it, because it always makes my books me. I'm able to have money to print out like this. All this, I don't know what to do. Instead, I have printed ones with me around. Still the same. All these things have been a problem to me, and that's that. And because of my condition, I'm a young lady, and I've determined that my condition, even if that things that make me to stay in my father's house till now, I determined that no matter who and whoever that comes, no matter the kind of human being that comes to me, that I must leave my father's house in order for me to have peace, both in my father's house and also to see someone that will make me to be happy.
Immediate past Director General, Nigerian Maritime Safety Agency NIMASA, Dakuku Peterside, says that the revoked Electoral Amendment Bill has novel provision that President Buhari should not hesitate to sign the past bill into law. The 2015 APC governorship candidate in Rivers State also told Trust TV that he believes in fuel subsidy removal, though government needs mass sensitization campaign to succeed.
My take is that if the only complaint the president had against the initial electoral amendment bill is the non-provision of other modes of conducting primaries or selecting candidates for election, and that has been expunged now and replaced with 3 different modes of direct, indirect, and consensus, I don't see any reason why President will not assent to the bill. Indeed, there are a lot of novel provisions in the reenacted electoral bill that will enhance the integrity of elections in Nigeria. And if there's one challenge we have faced over time, is that of electoral integrity. Recall that I was a victim in a period leading to 2015. INEC announced through regulation that it has made provision for electronic accreditation or accreditation using the card reader. Went all the way to Supreme Court, and the position of the Supreme Court then is that it is not known to law. Even when it was admitted that there are a lot of irregularities. I am a strong supporter of the removal of subsidy. And there are many reasons for it. Subsidy does not serve the interests of the poor. It doesn't help the economy. And the way it's administered in Nigeria is fraught with a lot of corruption. Having said that, I do not also believe that this is the right time to remove subsidy. There are a few things that need to precede the removal of subsidy, including a massive enlightenment campaign and putting a number of safety valves in place. At no time will you remove subsidy that it will not inflict some pains on our people. It's like asking somebody to undergo surgery to remove a cancerous cell, and you say it will not inflict some pain. It will inflict some pain, but you have to endure the pain for us to live a healthy life. Or somebody is being treated for malaria. You said, look, you will not take any drug and the malaria will just go. That's wishful thinking. It will come with some pains, but we're saying that the pains be minimal.
Now, at least 10 people have been killed and nearly 48,000 forced from their homes after Cyclone Basira struck Madagascar overnight. According to the island country's Office of Disaster and Risk Management, some died when their house collapsed in the town of Abalavao, about 460 kilometers south of the capital, Antananarivo. It is the second major storm to hit the poor Indian Ocean island nation in 2 weeks. The cyclone made landfall in Mananjari with winds of 165 kilometers per hour, uprooting trees, destroying buildings, and forcing residents to weigh down flimsy corrugated iron roofs along its path. Tropical storm Anna had affected at least 131,000 people across Madagascar in late January, with nearly 60 people killed, mostly in the capital, Antananarivo. With that, we've come to the end of Trust News Update, but you can click the subscribe button on our YouTube and also connect with us via our social media platforms. I am Ayuba Ilya. Thank you for watching. From all around the world,
our news